Welcome to Club Fallstick, where math and music both just rock. In this video, we're going to talk about slope, and I'm going to compare it to some types of music. Now, let's talk a little bit about slope first. So, say you want to come to Club Fallstick. One ticket will cost you $2 because you're my students, and I'll give you quite the discount. Okay, so on this graph here, I'm going to graph one ticket costs $2. Now, say you and a friend want to come, so that's 2 tickets for $4. If you buy 3 tickets, that's $6. This represents a line if I were to connect all of my dots. The rate of change between each point is constant. So if I buy, let's say, 5 tickets, I can predict how much it's going to cost me. No one's going to buy half a ticket. Well, you can't. Say I wanted to estimate the number, how much I would make off 20 tickets. I could use this graph and keep graphing in order to find that cost. So slope is a constant rate of change, meaning the change between each point is the same. All right, we're going to talk about the different kinds of slope. The first kind of slope is what we call a positive slope. If I read from left to right on my graphs, the slope goes up. This is what we call a positive slope. Now, I'm going to compare the slope to a type of music. Listen to what I think of when I think of positive slope.
Those electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body.
Now I want you to refer to your graphic organizer. I want you to just kind of bear with me here. I'm using a different program. So positive slope, let's write an example of what a positive slope might look like. And this isn't going to be as easy as I usually use in Word. So for example, a positive slope could be 2 over 3. Both 2 and 3 are positive, and a positive slope would look something like this. So you can draw an example of a positive slope on your graphic organizer. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. And now we're going to talk about a negative slope. So if I read a graph left to right, a negative slope might look something like this. So the line will go down. Again, I'm going to read from left to right, the negative slope goes down. Ready for your negative slope music?
But I know I'll think of you every step of the
Love songs. Can't stand them. To me, they have a negative slope. I was going to play country music, but I like country music, and I know you guys don't. But, yeah. Alright, I'm going to go throw up. Okay, so on your graphic organizer, we're going to draw a picture of a negative slope. So while I have my arrow tool out here, a negative slope is going to go down. Again, I read my graphs from left to right. So a down line reading left to right would be a negative slope. So an example of something that might be negative would be if there is a negative within the slope. So for example, say we said our slope is negative 1. I don't know why that just made an arrow. Over 4. Uh-oh. Again, that is supposed to be a negative sign. So a negative slope will have a negative in either the numerator or the denominator. Okay, let's go back and look at another kind of slope. We have something called zero slope. And a zero slope is just a horizontal line. So you can think of something that's horizontal like the top of a desk, or ground level could be a horizontal slope, or what we call zero slope. Whenever I think of zero slope, I think of music that's just kind of chill. I'm just going to chill out, hang out, stay where it is. So let's look at a music sound for zero slope. You might want to get your parents to this one. So someone like Pink Floyd, kind of chill, zone out type music. You might get bonus points from your parents too.
Is there anyone home? Come on, down. I am down.
Okay, so on your graphic organizer, we're going to fill out the section for zero slope. Now, when you have a slope that's 0, your numerator is going to be 0. So for example, if I say 0 over 3. I said 3. Okay. Any slope that is 0 over some number is going to be a 0 slope. So what that might look like, in this case, would be a horizontal line at 3. Because this line intersects those at 3, which we'll dive into a little bit deeper in class. All right, let's go on to our last type of slope, which is what we call undefined slope. Undefined slope is any vertical line. This is kind of slope we can't define because it goes on forever in both directions and there's never any slope. So just like there's some music that's just really kind of difficult to define. Okay, so on your graphic organizer, let's talk about undefined slope. So an undefined slope is any slope where 0 is in the denominator. Because, as we've experimented in the past, you cannot divide by 0. It is undefined. So in this example, if my slope is 2 over 0, again, any slope with 0 in the bottom is going to create a vertical line, which is an undefined slope. So in this case, my slope is undefined at 2. Okay, one last thing that I want to talk about was slope. And that would be how to find slope on a line. So as we discussed last year, and this is a quick review, M stands for slope. It's the letter that we use for slope, and it's also in your slope-intercept form equation. So in this example, M equals 2 over 3. My slope is rise 2, run 3. So I'm going to start at my point and rise 2, run 3 to get my next point. Again, I can rise 2, run 3 to get a third point. Or if both numbers are positive, you can also make both numbers negative, because a negative divided by a negative still gives you a positive. So if I go down 2 and over 3, I can also graph another point. In this example here, we have a negative slope because my rise is negative. So if I start here, I'm going to go down 1 because the rise is down, and I'm going to run 2. Whoops. 1, 2. Again, I can go down 1 and run 2 again. I can also make my run negative, and it's still going to graph the line. I can go up 1 and over negative 2 as well. Here's another example of a 0 slope because 0 is in the numerator. If I start here, I'm not going to rise or run. I'm not going to rise, but I am going to run -4. So this would form a horizontal line for a 0 slope. Then this would be an example of an undefined slope. I can't divide by 0, therefore my slope is undefined. Now I want you to go back to your graphic organizer, and we're going to do another example. In this case, we're going to start at the origin to graph our lines. So let's do an example of a slope of 2/3. Okay, I'm going to start at my origin. I'm going to rise +2 and run +3, and this is where I would graph my point. Again, I'm going to rise +2, run +3, and graph my point. I can also go down -2 and over -3, and as you notice, this point is still on the line. In our second example, let's make one of them negative. Let's have a slope of 2 and let's do -3 so we can see the difference between the two. I'm going to start at my origin. I'm going to rise +2, but I'm going to run -3. Graph my point. I'm going to rise +2 and run -3. Okay, we're going to practice this a little bit further tomorrow. I want to thank you for watching. We're going to experiment a little bit more tomorrow. This flipped classroom video has been brought to you by Fosdick DAP Productions. I just took this to a whole new level. You gotta watch his videos. You're gonna find in class. Peace.